So now we're going to do the complete vehicle assembly and test. So let's take it one stage at a time. The wheels and axles are quite big compared to these parts, so let's fit the small parts first. So the battery or cell, the small hole is for the battery, the large hole is for the motor. So small hole. Now it doesn't matter which way we put the battery in. It doesn't matter which way, because we've got freedom over swapping the wires from one side to the other if we want to. So there's no problem with that. So in goes the battery. What we'll do is we'll use an elastic band. You see, these connections have to be held on. In that case, we need an elastic band to do it. This elastic band needs to be doubled to make it really tight. The second elastic band does not need to be doubled. The first one does. Here it goes. Double it over. Cross both onto the same fingers, and that means it's doubled. Stand the chassis upright like that. Stretch the elastic and put it down over the ends of the battery. There we go. So that's nice and tight. Doubled elastic band, battery goes through. And then the next step, now we've got to be very careful we don't damage these wires. After all the effort we put into making this motor, and we know it works. So what we're going to do is try and do this very carefully. And the way we'll do it is, we won't push the motor down the hole, because that would mean that at some stage we'd have to hold the wires and push. We don't want to hold the wires. So what we're going to do is put the sleeves and fasteners down the hole first. Give them a little wiggle there. Out they come. And now the wires are inside and we can't do them any harm. But we can grab hold very firmly of the chassis and give it a good hard push and twist if you can. Then, because you lose your grip on it as you've pushed it further in, just use your fingers, support with your thumbs on the back, use your fingers and push it through like that. Now we don't want to push it in too far, so just leave it so that you can see that rim of the motor sticking out a little bit, okay? Try and get it nice and straight so it's not off to one side. Remember that right angle idea? The motor is in line with the edges, the ends of the chassis, so it's parallel with them. So that straight line is very important. Next we'll we'll pop the wires on. Now, the two red marks indicate where in my model, indicate where the axles are going to fit. Now that's the bottom of the vehicle, so it's going to sit on the desk like that. So what we want is, we want to get these wires out of the way. We don't want them on the top because there's bodywork going to fit there. What we're going to do is put them underneath. Right, here we go. So under the wires go, just like that. And then we simply turn the wire back on itself and hold it like that. So the metal fastener head is being pulled by the elastic band onto the end of the battery, and then the same with this one. Now as soon as we touch this one on, the motor is going to spin. So what we tend to do with this is, look, lift up the elastic, tuck it under, but deliberately push it past where we wanted it to touch the battery. So there we go. That one's touching, ready to go. That one's in position, but not quite touching because I've pushed it further past. We don't need the motor to be on now. So now what we'll do is add the axles and wheels, take off a clip, take off a wheel, hold by the other end, push and twist gently. The hole's already there, so it'll follow the line of the hole as it goes through. There we go. Next one on. Stand it against a solid surface like the desk while you put the other clip on, so you're pushing down on it. Be careful not to grab hold of the whole thing while you're pushing these clips on, because you'll simply distort the wheels. They're only soft form. So remember, you need a firm sort of place to push against rather than just forcing things to fit. So similar procedure with this one. Here we go. So I've simply left axle clip on and one wheel on. Push and twist, push and twist, push and twist. Gently let it follow the line. It'll come back out exactly in the right place. There we go. Next one on. Now the axle, the rear axle, has got to be a really close fit. So there's lots of room there still for that one, look. And there's not much room there. So I'm just going to push the axle through a little bit further. Now I have to have both of these wheels running free. They've got to run free. So this is a little bit of judgment here, perhaps pushing it backwards and forwards until you get it just right. So support that against the desk again, push down with that one, just like before, so you're not squashing the wheels. Check again, that's fine, that's fine. Well, if we were to switch this on now, switch it on by moving that connection, then the motor would spin, but nothing would happen. Nothing would happen. It's not joined to anything. So maybe you can figure the last part out. So what we need this elastic band to give us a hand. You see, the groove in the pulley is meant for a drive belt. Now our drive belt is just an elastic band. So what on earth do you do with that to get it to make the vehicle move? Do you want to think about that one? Stop the video there. Okay, so what do? Well, trying to stretch it all the way to the front wheel, right, that's not going to be very good. The front wheels aren't as strong and would wobble about left and right. The back wheels are especially made so that one of them, look, can attach on. So the best way to do this, is fit the elastic band on the wheel itself first. You know, you could put an elastic band on all the wheels and that would increase the sort of grip against the surface it's going to run on. And then simply pinch the elastic band and stretch it onto the motor. So now when we switch it on, let's just switch it on. There it goes. And if we move that clip off again, there it goes. Now later you might well be able to think of a better way to switch this on and off. I mean, would it be better if, for example, we had a switch on the top or on the back where we could move something that would then switch the motor on and off? And what you notice is, look, it's only driving one wheel. So that wheel's driven, but this one's free. Well, there's a way to solve that problem as well, but that's a little bit more complicated. This is absolutely fine for what we're trying to do with this little model vehicle. Now, sometimes, if you haven't lined that motor up in a straight line, if you haven't drilled that hole in the chassis for the axle, then these two might not line up. So one might be straight, one might be crooked. Both might be crooked, in which case the elastic band will continually pop off. The pulley and the wheel have to be lined up in order for that elastic band, that drive belt, to stay on. So adjusting them might be the way to solve that problem if that problem occurs in your case. Now underneath, just to make sure wires are kept out of the way, can you see that little wire there might well touch the wheels? Then what we might do there is possibly reroute that wire. Let's have a look. And for that one, where it's a problem, pop it in the other way. There are always improvements you can make to these little vehicles. Fantastic. There we go. So, success so far. Let's move on to the bodywork and steering later on.